Hello and welcome to this week's episode of For the Love of Chiropractic. I'm your host, Dr. Robert Freeman, and on today's show, we're going to be talking about the one key to practice growth. Yes, there's really only one key you need if you're interested in growing your practice. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome to another episode of For the Love of Chiropractic. I'm your host, Dr. Robert Freeman. I've been in practice for over 30 years, and I continue to work in $1 million practice that I built, ran, and sold. I've taught, lectured, and coached our profession, and helped so many chiropractors build the practice and the life of their dreams. And now, I want to help you do the same. So here's today's show. As I said in the introduction, today we're going to be talking about the one key, the one thing that it takes for you to grow your practice. But before we start to talk about that, I want to say thank you to all of the listeners in 15 different countries and territories and 400 cities around the world that have made the podcast so successful to this point. I also want to say a sincere and personal thank you to each and every one of the doctors who have reached out to me in the multiple ways that you can contact me with questions, answers, and suggestions for the podcast. They're all appreciated as we work to make each episode as full, complete, and helpful as possible. And of course, I want to thank all of the subscribers and even the casual listeners for tuning in and using this information to make your practice that much better. So now let's really start digging into this one key to grow your practice. Because here's what I know. I know that anybody, any chiropractic physician, can grow their practice if they choose to. You and I both know if you simply go out and somehow get more new patients to come into the office, whether it's through some sort of spinal screening, some sort of lecture, some sort of lunch and learn, some sort of social media campaign, any of those things will get more bodies into the office, which then allows you to take them through the process that you have set up in your office of patient intake, examination, report of findings, care recommendations, and take them through the care that you've recommended. And that's just fine, and it works really well. But when you go out and you do that event, and let's say whatever that event is, it's a killer. It works so well. So many people want to come and see you. Your phone is ringing off the hook, and you're not even sure where you're going to be putting the new patient appointments. You're coming in early, you're staying late, you're seeing a new patient during your lunch hour. And if you're doing all those things and you're getting all these new patients in and getting them into the process and they begin care, that's terrific. But what does the practice look like 2, 3, 4, or maybe 6 weeks later? If you're like the vast majority of practices out there, it settles back down to where it was, to what I call the practice set point. The practice set point is sort of like when we talk about a weight set point for a human being's weight. They go on a diet, they lose a ton of weight, and then their body gradually goes back and gains the weight back to where it was. Or for some people who are on the opposite extreme, they work really hard to gain weight, right? There's a few special people who have to eat as much as possible just to maintain their weight. And then when they don't keep concentrating on that, they lose that weight and settle back to that lower point than they really want to be at. It's a set point. But your practice set point is where it is for a very specific set of reasons. And that's what I want to spend time focusing even more on today. And then, of course, more importantly, how do we change that set point? Not just how do we get more people into the office, how do we raise the set point so that the normal volume of the office is at the level that we really want it to be, at this new higher level. And it may or may not surprise you, but that set point, doctor, is all from you. It's not the team. It's not the patients. It's not the town. It's not the economy. It's not world events. It's you. It's your mindset. What are you bringing to the table? What are you bringing into the office on a daily basis? What I'm talking about is your attitude. I'm talking about your attention to detail. When I say your attention to detail, I'm talking about your caring, how much you care. And I don't mean how much you care for your patients. I believe you're a phenomenal doctor and you truly care about these people. You care how they feel, you care about their health, and you care about helping them to be and get healthier. But what I'm talking about is you're caring about everything. I'm caring about your attention to detail. What we're really looking at is your willingness to help make everything better, whatever that means. So we're talking about your personal energy level, your enthusiasm, and the efficiency with which you get things done. What is your competence for the things you are taking on, the jobs that you are looking to take on in the office, with the patients, and when you're working on the office? What is your confidence in your ability that this will succeed? When we talk about energy level, I like to think of the example of the way an atom works. You have the nucleus, and at the center of the nucleus is the hub, right? It's the information center. And then orbiting around the nucleus are the electrons. And the electron orbitals are bigger or smaller based on the amount of energy that the atom has. So when it's colder and less energy, the orbitals are smaller, not as much is happening. But when you add energy, the orbitals get bigger, the electrons move faster, and lo and behold, they're more attractive. They want to grab more things. That's how chemistry works. And we are not disconnected from the chemistry. As much as many of us would love to be disconnected from chemistry that we had to take in order to become chiropractors. But let's zero back in on the practice now. Get away from the atom model. When you look at your life, if you're pretty laid back in most areas of your life, I'll bet your practice is pretty laid back and not as successful as you want it to be. But if you have that edge where you're pushing to make things better, always happy but never satisfied, that edge of pushing for improvement, that push towards more energy, towards making it better, that carries over not just in your life, but into your practice. Because people can't help but be more attracted to that type of energy. So when you're out in public doing anything, you vibrate at a different level, and that vibration is more attractive. People want to come and see you. They want to know more about who you are and what you're doing. John DeMartini famously said, if you light yourself on fire, they'll come to watch you burn. I've known so many chiropractors over the years that are so enamored and enthralled with the removal of vertebral subluxations and helping sick people get well and well people be even healthier, they can't help but see more and more people in their office. I even know a doctor that had people waiting outside his office on the sidewalk just to get in for their adjustment. It's just that attractive. And of course, anybody can have that. Are you willing to step outside of your comfort zone and be that person? Talk the talk, walk the walk, and get the results that the most successful chiropractors have. So now, how do you raise that energy level? How do you do that? You know, if you've ever gone to a gym and worked out, when you look around the gym, you see different groups of people. You see some people who are just casually going from machine to machine. They set the weights, they do their 8, 10, 12 repetitions, and they take a break. Maybe they take a sip of water, maybe they chat with somebody, maybe they look at their phone. Maybe they then settle in to do a second set on that machine, or they just get up and go to a different machine. But what's their intensity? What's their intention? Are they really focused on doing the exercise to the absolute best ability that they can? Or are they just sort of going through the motions? Now, certainly, just sort of going through the motions is better than not going to the gym at all. Okay. But the same is true in all areas of your life and especially in your practice. If you're just showing up and seeing the patients without the energy, the enthusiasm, the caring, the outgoingness to speak to them about how can you possibly help them in other ways also, they know that. And their impression is, yeah, he's a good guy. Yeah, she's a nice gal. I mean, I guess he or she are a good enough doctor. And yeah, they're helping me. But they're not excited, nor are they passionate about what you're providing them with. They're not talking about you outside the office. Man, you got to see my doc. He's into so many cool things, and he does this, that, and the other, and we do this in the office, and we do that in the office, and he knows all this stuff. Do your patients know what you know? Do they know the information that you know? I'm not asking if they're experts in the field. I'm asking, do they know that you're the expert in your field? Because not only do they expect it, not only do they deserve it, they really do want to hear about the new cool things that you're learning about. Maybe not in exquisite detail, but they sure as heck want to know that you're wowed and jazzed and nerding out on all this super cool new stuff that you're learning when you take your free time to go to seminars, to do reading, to take online seminars, whatever it is. The fact that you're out of the office, not just lollygagging, playing golf, whatever, those things are important. You should enjoy your life. But becoming the better doctor, becoming the greater expertise, they want to know that. They want to know that their doctor is that person. So how do you share that information with them? Well, when they come in on a Monday morning and you casually ask them how their weekend was, and they say, oh, it was really great. I did this, I did that, I did some stuff around the house. Chances are they'll ask you, what was your weekend like, Doc? And you can say, oh, I had a great weekend. I spent the weekend at this seminar, learned some really cool new stuff about, and whatever it is that you learned. And without giving them too much detail, unless they're really, really interested in it, and they'll let you know that, they're quickly learning that you care about learning new things and that that's awesome for you in your world and ultimately for them as well. And when you're going to be out of the office to attend a seminar, I want you and your staff to be telling the patient, not just, oh, the office is closed on Friday. Oh, the office is closed next Friday because Doc's attending a seminar in, if it's some foreign city, that's just fine. Let them know that you're traveling to go get the greatest information to bring back for them. If it's a staff training opportunity, tell them that too. Oh, the office will be closed next Friday for staff training because we'll be working together to improve the systems in the office to make things even better than they already are. You really do have to tell the patients this because if not, they don't know what's going on. But how wonderful is it when you get to share that with them and they can think, wow, they're working to make things better for me, because that's what they're thinking about. So we've spent some time talking about your personal energy. Step it up. If that means going to the gym to get your personal energy level up before you go to the office, then that's what you need to do. We've talked about your enthusiasm for what it is you're doing in the office, what you're bringing to and for your patients. We've talked a little bit about efficiency. I think the office needs to be incredibly efficient so patients know they can get in, get taken care of, and get out and get on with their day. Do your patients know that you're efficient? Can they count on you for fast efficiency? Or do they think once in a while that they have to sit around and wait an hour before they can see you? That's not efficient, and nobody appreciates it. So as we're talking about your office volume, maybe you're seeing 80 or 100 visits a week. Maybe you're seeing 110, 120 visits a week, 150, 200, 300, 400, 500. I know an office that sees 700 visits a week. Whatever the number is, your energy, you're vibrating at that level. If you want to raise your level, one of the best ways to do that is go and watch the person who's a step above you or 2 steps even above you. So if you're at the 100 visits a week, you know what? Find the doc who's seeing 125, 150, maybe even up to the 200 visit a week level, if that's your goal to help more people. How do they do that? And you can say, well, they don't provide quality care, but you know what? All of their patients think they do. So they must be doing something right. And as you've heard me say many, many times before, once you've identified that person, the fact that they're doing it efficiently and correctly means it can be done, and you can too. I'm inviting you to match, mirror, plagiarize, and steal their actions and attitudes, because when you do the same thing in the same way, you're going to get the same result. And business in today's environment is just too expensive to try and reinvent the wheel and do it wrong over and over and over again. It costs you time and it costs you money. And in today's world, nobody wants to be wasting either one of those things. Another great way to raise your energy level is to get together in a mastermind group, preferably with people who are your level and higher. Raise each other up and grow together. If you can get yourself into a mastermind group where everybody is just a little bit above you, guess what? They're going to raise you up and they'll be thrilled to see your growth and have you as part of the group. Don't be hung up on they won't want to be around me stinking thinking, because you're going to step up, you're going to be an important member of the group, and you're going to help them get to where they want to be by seeing some of the shortfalls maybe that they can't even see anymore in themselves. So as we begin to close out this episode, I'm going to close with where we started, which is anybody can grow their practice with this one key thing. You need to change who you be, raise it up to a bigger level. Therefore, you become more attractive. The practice sees and does more, and it's almost like magnetism. You just become that much more magnetic. And if you're ever just lost and don't feel like you know where to go, you can always reach out to me via the website, fortheloveofchiropractic.com, or even my email, chirobob@comcast.net. Yes, that's my email, and I will always happily help any chiropractor I possibly can. And if you're ever thinking about quitting, the first thing I'll ask you to do before you quit is remember why you started in the first place. Because in there is a mission that you know you need to complete. All right, and that's our show for today. If you have a question about today's show or your own practice, feel free to reach out at fortheloveofchiropractic.com. Before making changes to your practice, be sure to seek legal advice regarding those changes and regulations in your state. For the Love of Chiropractic is an RGF production, all rights reserved. And thanks for listening. Original music provided by Hunter Rich Music.